well, as I will be mentioning, I should say, it's not really my favorite word or description. So, the funnel process, this is something that you may have heard about throughout digital marketing, or anyone who's involved in marketing will understand the funnel process and why it's important. It's important that you understand it. So, generally, the funnel process is seen as a downward four-stage process in the shape of a funnel, as it shows. So you'll have at the top the awareness, as you can see. Then you have the consideration stage. Then you have the conversion stage where the customer buys. And then we have the retention stage of where we keep hold of the customer, either through advocacy or whatever it might be. But even though this in theory is correct, I believe there's a lot more to it and there's a lot more opportunities that people are missing out on. So it kind of begs the question, what do we mean by this? Are we just taking the customer straight through? Is it accurate? I suppose there are elements of truth and accuracy in it, but remember the customer's real. When you order something off Amazon, it's important to you. You're not just another customer. You need that product there when they said it's going to be there. And I think in 5 years or so of using Amazon, they've only ever delayed my parcel once. And that's a testament to the company. So they're not just seeing you as a number, they're making sure they look after you because they want you to keep coming back. They don't need to send me advertising. I mean, of course, I do see the odd occasional advert of Amazon on Facebook, but they don't need to send it me because if I need something, I'm going to go straight to them. And that's where you want to get to. You want to get to the position where the customer comes for you, comes straight to you when they need to solve that problem or when they want to indulge in some lifestyle product. So whatever it might be, you want them to come to you. But most of all, we're understanding a process. So at the end of the day, we're providing a solution. And this is what we regard as a funnel process. As I've said here, and I've repeated, and I'll probably repeat many times, I'm not a big fan of this funnel process because I don't think it gives the customer the respect they deserve. I believe the customers, yes, they are a real person. They deserve our respect because they keep our businesses going. So if we understand the customer, that's going to make it a lot easier to take them through this process, if you like, a process which I call, drum roll, what I call the CERAM process. So this is my version of the process, and it stands for customer engagement, relationship building, and management. CERAM. So you can see the pronunciation there. And this is a process that I have developed. It's probably in the process of being trademarked in some way or something, but it's something that I'm currently sharing, and it's literally brand new. It still takes into consideration what the funnel talks about and the process, but I just think the funnel isn't. It's not personal enough. It's not understanding the customer. As a marketer, my job is to put the customer at the center of everything I do, and I believe that the CERAM process does that. As you can see, there's three parts to it, which we will go through. So it's a three-stage process. So you can see that first stage is customer engagement. So let me just get my mouse. So here we have the customer engagement, then we go into relationship building, and then the management. So this is obviously, as you can see from the previous slide, that's where CRM comes from. So obviously the C in customer and the E in engagement. Then we go to the R for relationship. I've not given, I've not highlighted the B because CRM doesn't sound as funky, does it? I suppose not as marketable. Let's say that. So yeah, we've got relationship building and then management. So this is what it stands for. And obviously it's in three stages, but let's look at each stage individually. And this is obviously us understanding so everything we do in the course, keep in mind the CERAM process, because this is obviously how we are wanting to engage with the customer and keep them either a loyal's maybe not the right word, but have them as a loyal or have your brand as their favorite. And maybe like say some sort of loyalty or repeat custom, or if they're not going to buy us from again, maybe an advocacy and keeping them engaged. We're going to go into that in a little bit more detail now. So stage one of the process is what we call customer engagement. So customer engagement is that initial interaction with the customer. So that could be something as simple as going through seeing their advert on Facebook, maybe clicking on the website link, or maybe adding a comment or something. But it's that initial awareness and interaction. So as soon as someone sees your ad, we're classing that as awareness. So the aim is always to raise awareness at the start. So when we start off with marketing, the aim is to raise awareness. If I just walked up to you on the street and whispered into your ear and said, "Do you want to buy this?" You're going to think, "Well, hang on, calm down. Who are you?" So this is what we do in terms of raising awareness first. So a lot of the time, some people when they're using advertising platforms, and we'll talk about this in more detail later, they go straight to making the sale, and they're missing out the whole process of that awareness and interest and this engagement because somebody needs to know who you are. And once they know who you are, then you can take it step by step. Remember, it's a person you're dealing with. Maybe you've got something that's there and then, and once again, they want it there and then, and you've providing the solution. For example, if you're looking for a plumber to fix a leak, you'll go to Google and you're pretty much looking for someone there and then. But remember the process of going from stranger to sale and to having a customer who and then becomes someone who is either a repeat customer, a loyal customer, or remains engaged with you, or maybe goes on to be an advocate. There is a process to go through. So this represents that initial interaction with the customer. The aim is of getting your message out there. So basically, the aim of the customer engagement process is let them know you exist and have that interaction. So as we've said there, that interaction turns into engagement. When we're talking engagement, we're talking more detail. So maybe there's a like, there's a comment, there's maybe messaging going on, but there is maybe they've clicked through to your website. But that's when we're talking engagement. So that initial awareness and interaction then becomes an engagement. And once again, the most important bit is understand the customer. So, how do we engage, delight, interact, and deliver what the audience is looking for? This is that process. So, we're understanding the customer here. Excuse me. So, we are understanding who the customer is. And remember, they are a real person. I know I've mentioned this a number of times already, but they are a real person and we need to be treating them in that way. The next stage, stage two, is the relationship building. And yes, don't worry, I've not made a typo. This is not a mistake. You can see that the item has been delivered, and we're on to that early next stage of the after sales process. So just if we just flick back over here, oops, so you can see here this relationship building process. It goes from consideration all the way just up to after sales. Because remember, this is we're building a relationship. If you ordered something off Amazon, they didn't send you a confirmation email. They didn't send you an email to let you know when it's going to be arriving, and it turned up 3 days late. And on top of that, you didn't know they just knocked on and they just turned up. You're not really going to use them again. And the big mistake a lot of companies use is that they think once they've made the sale, that's it, game over. No, it's about how you treat the customer. And this is what we talk about in the CERAM process. Once you've made that sale, it's not high fives and game over. It's how do we look after the customer? That's why we call it relationship building, because that relationship starts from the the consideration stage all the way up to just before the after sales process. So even after they've delivered, how did they feel after they got the product? So you can see here, what we say is by this stage, we are fully engaged with the audience. So as we mentioned, the examples we've given, we now need to build that relationship because they may be doing involved with you or engaged with you, but this is about relationship building. They have considered our product. We are now moving. So as we're going through the green area, they've considered your product. This is where they're actively thinking about, oh, do we buy your product or somebody else's? We're further understanding the customer because if they have any reservations, what are they looking for? What are they not looking for? If they've been onto our website, which page did they spend the most time on? All these little bits of information come in because we're using all this data to better understand them. And it says there, what does the sales process look like? So from when we say a sales process, we're saying when they make that purchase from Apple Pay or Android Pay or paying on their card or whatever they're doing, from that actual process, what does it look like to them receiving the product? Is it a nice process? Is it not a nice process? As I mentioned, I've mentioned Amazon already a few times. I know Amazon is more expensive than my local shop. So if I need some stationery stuff for work, why am I going to Amazon even though I know they sell it for a pound more expensive? I know you might say, well, listen, Kaz, it's only a pound, but it all adds up. But why do I not go to that store? I could get in my car now, drive to the store and buy it there. And if there's a few things I need, I might save a few pounds as well. But why don't I do that? Because Amazon is so good. I know they'll send me the email to confirm. I know it'll definitely be here tomorrow. And I'll know so much. Why? Because of that past experience of where they've built that relationship in there. So Amazon have taken me from consideration to delivery, and I've been thrilled with it. I've been happy. I'm saying this is a great service. I can get used to this, and I have got used to it, and that's why I keep using them. So, as I mentioned, what if Amazon delivered late and with no communication? Would your mind have changed? And most of all, when the audience becomes a customer, the process does not stop. As I mentioned, don't make the sale, high fives everywhere and forget. Remember, we need to retain that customer. And remember, they're not always going to want to buy again. So, this is how we move on to stage three. So, stage three is that management of that relationship. So, we built the relationship. How do we manage it? So, you can see here, it borders on the after sales process and the survey. So, when we're saying surveys, we're talking about asking how we did. Uber Eats, when they deliver some food to you, the first thing they ask you is, how do they do? To be honest, I think they do a bit quickly because no, I mean, the person delivers the food and it comes up on your phone, how was the food? And you're like, come on, Uber, give me a chance to eat it at least. Anyway, so this is the after sales process because the customer is not always going to want to buy again. And you might say, why, Kaz? And the reason is because some products are different. For example, if you're buying a house or renting a house, are you going to do that every week? Well, you'd hope not anyway. You'd want to do it as a one off purchase. So maybe you'd buy a house or rent a house one time in a few years, one time in a lifetime, maybe. You still want the customer to say good things about you. What about, yeah, buying a house and renting? We've mentioned. What about buying a car? So sometimes there are purchases or services that you use that are almost like once in a lifetime or a few in a lifetime. With those customers, we're looking at the purple area. We're looking for advocacy. We want them to say great things about you. The orange area, keeping them engaged. I mean, if you're good enough, even if someone buys a house off you, you can still keep them engaged. Maybe talk about tips on decorating. Maybe you can talk about house values going up. Maybe house prices on the street. People always want to know how much. If someone on your street is selling a house or renting something out, you want to know how much that rent is or how much they're selling it for, and also what was the final price. So we have this inside of us. So if we can keep the person engaged, maybe that will help as well, or maybe that can be part of the process. Alternatively, like the Amazon example in that light blue area, I have become a repeat customer, but they'll still ask me for reviews, won't they? So in terms of the advocacy, so they'll still ask me for w who would I yeah, they ask me to review products. Sometimes they send me some random email about how things went. But you can see there is a lot going on there. It doesn't mean that one person is a customer, they'll always be a repeat customer. No, I've already given you examples of different industries where you might not be a repeat customer, but you still need people to say good things about you. So, in terms of managing these relationships, if we were to go through these bullet points, is one of the most important stages for long term success. I mean, if I give you Tesco as an example, or maybe your local supermarket, do you get to the counter and they say, right, bugger off, don't come back? No, they look after you. I mean, these days they don't look after you as much because you have to kind of scan your own products, don't you, these days? But yeah, the aim is they give you like in Tesco's, they have something called a club card. So it's almost like a loyalty card where you get discounts and offers. So they look after me. They serve you with a smile. Thank you for coming. The shop's nicely done. things are clean because they want me to go back. They don't want to attract millions of new customers every single week. They want us to keep going back. And this is that third stage of the journey. So, as the second point says, how we treat our customers is important. Remember, now they're customers, they're not audience anymore. They are your customers. There is a big difference here. So the transition from audience to customer is now complete. Remember, I know I keep mentioning the word customer, but the customers are special. Look after them. We now need to hold on to them, even if we're not going to make another purchase. In the just as the examples of that I've just explained, um, you can, as I mentioned, you can keep them engaged and have different email lists. We'll talk about that later on when we talk about emails and how that works. Provide services you would expect. So, what would you expect them to do? So, think about that. Expectations versus reality. Do we need to improve or continue? Was the process good or bad? Did the customers enjoy it? I mean, the process Amazon have now, is that the first process they had years ago when they first started out? Remember, we're marketers, we're looking for the next iteration. We always want to improve and we always want to get better. So, once again, the expectations of that service, what was the actual reality? Because when you get a customer complaint or there's a problem with somewhere in the process because if they, I mean, yes, of course, I'm sure there'll be exceptions to the rule, but more often than not, when we say the customer's always right, what we mean is we don't mean the customer is right. So if they just walked into the store and punched you on the nose or something, that doesn't mean the customer's always right. It means the decisions that the customer takes is always right. So if you've designed something and people are not going down that road and they're taking another route, and the customer's always right. There's a reason why they're doing something. We fell short as marketers, as business owners, or working within a business, we've got something wrong. So that's why when we say the customer's always right, what we mean is what the decisions they took were right. And maybe we've put the wrong obstacles in place, or maybe we've not communicated it clearly enough to make them decide what they need to do. Um, so obviously, yes, we're taking the relationship to the next stage and understand what they want. An example that we had was we had a customer and we had a product, I think it was for a decoration company, and it was dead easy, like one of those products you put it together within 30 seconds, dead easy. But we got within the first day, I think they made about 28, 30 sales of this particular item, and 18 people got in. Was it 18 or 8? Anyway, a significant amount of people got in touch to say, "How do you put it together?" And I think we included instructions. We thought this is simple. So what we did, we created a quick video of someone putting the item together, created it very quickly, put it onto YouTube, and obviously created a public link. We then sent it to those 8 or 18 people and said, "Here you are, here's the information." And then, once again, to improve ourselves, all future customers, they got a small slip of paper with a QR code on it, and it said, um, not building instructions, or I can't remember exactly how we put it. Yeah, assembly instructions or assembly video, basically. So as soon as they got it, they scanned it, it went to the YouTube, it showed them how to use it, and problem solved. So this is what we're talking about: expectations versus reality, what the customer wants. Remember, all those 8 or 18 people weren't the problem. The problem was with us. We didn't make the instructions clear enough, or there was a problem. Yes, maybe some people were managing to put it together, but that's not good enough. There was something that we missed, and the customer made us aware of it. How do we deal with complaints? What do we do? If someone does complain, did I tell them just to bugger off and say, "Well, it's your own fault, we got it right"? No, look after the customer. An example I'll share with you is one what I had with Wayfair. So I think it's a worldwide company, I'm not sure, but Wayfair is like a furniture company in the UK, a bit like IKEA. It sells it, but it sends you flat pack furniture and you have to kind of put it together yourself. Anyway, so, I was trying to be a bit, brave at home, so I ordered one of these build your own cabinets. Wanted to show off a little bit at home, show them that I can still put things together. So I put this, it was only a small cabinet at the side of the living room, and just somewhere you'd put like a some flowers and a bit of storage space. Anyway, so I created this. I was doing it step by step, showing everyone, right, this is what you need to do next, and kind of playing the old pro, if you like, trying to show how good I am. Anyway, did everything. I got down to the very last part, which was putting on the right side. Put the left door on, the right door had to go on. I was about to put the door on, and guess what? They'd forgot to put the screw holes in the product. On the other side, they had it because all we're doing is putting it together. So the holes for the screw are there. But on that particular part, they didn't have it. And I was so disappointed because I think this was during lockdown as well, or obviously during after the or just after the pandemic where there were still restrictions and you were still doing quite a lot of things at home. And I was so disappointed. And I thought, right, I'm gonna get on the phone to them. And they've got the app. So I went on the app and I was getting ready. I took loads of pictures and really psyched myself up for a really good argument because I was showing off in front of the family trying to do all this and they kind of scuppered my plans. And this thing cost about £80 or so probably like $100 or so. So I was kind of really annoyed with them because I was doing a good job. I put it together perfectly, and because they'd forgot to drill these holes, they kind of ruined everything and made it look like it was my fault. Obviously, the family don't know any different. I mean, but anyway, I was disappointed. Let's put it that way. Anyway, so I got ready for this argument. I went online, I went through that process, and it said, "Tell us the nature of your problem." So I said, "Oh, damn right, I'll tell you the nature of my problem." So I wrote it in there and said, "I've put this together, um, and you didn't do this, and the screws were missing. I mean, the screws were there, but the holes weren't there. I don't have a drill, and it's really messed up my plans. It should be done better than that." And it said, "Do you have any pictures?" "Yep, absolutely, I have pictures. I took it from every angle, uploaded the pictures," and I thought, "Right, when the assistant comes on, I'm gonna really kind of be very clear and direct with him." Within 2 minutes was it? Yeah, within about 2 minutes, I had a reply, and it said, "Sorry, Mr. Lalji, you shouldn't have experienced that. We've processed your refund, and we apologize for any problems we may have caused." And I was like, "What?" And then, like, it was like a live chat, and I went, "Yeah, but what do you want me to do with the product?" They said, "Oh, you can keep it." And I said, "Look, this," and then I almost went into apologetic mode. I went, "No, no, there's not a problem with the thing. It was just you missed these 3 holes. I just want you to provide some sort of solution." They said, "Well, we've given you the refund. Go buy a drill and keep the product, then you're fine." And I was like, "Wow, that was a really good way of dealing with it." And I was like, so I was going up there ready for a fight. Well, not a physical fight, but a virtual fight to get my point across because I thought it was gonna be a real struggle. But the process, I mean, they gave me a refund without me giving me any explanation. I put like 2 or 3 lines of what the problem was, took some pictures, almost like a build up to the main fight I'm going to have with them, and they dealt with it like that, and I was like, "That's amazing." And I thought that was brilliant. The next day, went out, bought a drill, which was basically free, made the I think it was 3 or 6 holes they'd missed, made the holes, drilled in screwed in those screws, and I had my cabinet. But that was a brilliant experience. So that's how they dealt with the complaint. Now, I tell this story to every person I've ever met. Well, not quite, but if the subject of DIY comes up, I always tell this story. I tell it to my learners, and would I use Wayfair again? Absolutely. Now I have complete confidence in them. Whether I'm buying something for $100 or whether it's going to be $1,000, I will have no reservations because I know if it gets missed in transit or there's an error on it or it gets scratched or if there's ever a problem, I'll go to them and they'll solve it. So just by that good customer service, they've literally got a customer for life. I mean, I don't use them all the time, but if I need to buy anything flat packed or need to buy furniture, I'm definitely going to buy it from Wayfair because what have I got to lose? I don't have to take the car out, put it into the back of the car, travel out to some out of town complex. No, just order it online and then they'll deliver it. So you can see there just from that how they've dealt with that complaint. And that's what keeps me, excuse me, and that's what keeps me as a loyal or repeat customer and makes me tell stories like this. So remember, always be looking at how you can improve because what the customer tells you is important. And remember, yes, there will be exceptions to the rule, but most of the time there'll be clues and insights, and it helps you improve your business. And the end of the CERAM process is focused on that. So from after sales, so this product that I bought from Wayfair was after sales. So they'd sent me all the delivery information. I received the product and everything sorted. This was after sales. How do they deal with me when I had a complaint? And I think they may have, I don't know if they sent me a survey or not, but if they had done, I would have probably said great things about them. And now I tell people, so I'm an advocate, keep engaged. I don't think they do as much of that. I don't know if I've signed up for their emails, but I'm definitely a repeat customer. If I need to buy anything else and it's furniture related, it's probably the first place I go to. So you can see how it's learning, how the learnings help, and then it's all about the next iteration. How do we improve? How do we make it better? So maybe their next iteration is that they'll double check the qual. Maybe there was a problem with the quality control, but they'll double check that item on the quality control, so nobody else has to go through it again. And once again, be that good. That's what we're saying. Be that good where the relationship is maintained or they tell other people. So going back to the house and the car example, even though you're not going to be potentially buying a new house or a new car every week or every month or on a regular basis, just make sure they tell people so they become an advocate. Get them to do a Google review for you. Check the Net Promoter Score via the survey. See what else they're doing. Is there any other review places that they could help you out with? See, like now, if Wayfair sent me a review request, I'd do it anywhere. I think I reviewed it on the app, and I think I reviewed. I mean, I've not done it on Google, but if they asked me, I probably would too. So remember, it's making sure that if they go into the advocacy section, make the most of it, because if a happy customer is going to tell people great things, that's exactly what you want. So there is the overview of the CERAM process. So customer engagement at the start, move on to the relationship building, and then the management process. So as it says, customer engagement, relationship building, and management. That's what the CERAM process is, and this is what we do in this course. Is how we guide the customer from that initial audience stage where we're just learning about them and making them aware that we exist, all the way to being an advocate and saying great things about our company. This is the process that we go through, and this is, I suppose, not my version of the funnel. I don't like to, because like I said, I've never been a fan of the word funnel in the first place, but it treat does I don't think it gives the customer the respect that they deserve. But this is the process to gain customers, build relationships with them, and manage it. So this is, yeah. So I think this is, hopefully it's explained correctly and it's give you an idea of what we mean by it.